Welcome to another edition of Brewing with the Baron. Today, we are not going to be talking about meads or ciders or anything like that. We're going to look on the people who are like, well, I tried it, it didn't work out real well, or I want to make something that's stronger, or something that's even faster. That is a cordial. Now, a cordial can be either an alcoholic or a non-alcoholic concentrated drink, or it can be really thick to a syrup. Either way, it can be put on stuff like ice cream, or you can add more water to it, put ice in it, and you get a nice little afternoon refresher. Different things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on essentially a fruit cordial. Most of them are fruit. The simple things you need is just pretty much any bottle, specifically something that has a wide enough opening to put whole or partially cut fruit in. A specific type of liqueur. Some of the most common ones are going to be vodka. I like both rum and sometimes tequila. You can use Everclear, whatever you really like as a flavor. Then what happens is you add a sweetener to it. You can use sugar, you can use a light corn syrup, you can use honey, anything that you want. So these take a lot less time and can get a alcohol level to whatever level that you want, where you can just be, wow, that's strong, or I'm going to dilute it and wow, this is just a really nice, smooth drinking drink that I can have for a long time, pass it around, everyone has a good time. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we clean everything. Since we've never used this before, I'm just going to show you. You just take a regular bottle that you have and a nice cleaning brush. You want to make sure you get into all the corners. Get into any of the ridges here. Most of the time, it's going to be a liquid product that's in these things. And it's not going to be that big of a problem. But just in case, if anything got in there and then it dried and got hardened, it's a good way to make sure everything is clean. Now, you don't need to have a sanitizer. It's just, we're not fermenting anything, so we're not using a bacteria-based product. We're using straight alcohol. That's why it actually saves on time during the first or second fermentation process. So one of the drinks that I like a lot, or the fruits, is going to be cherry. So now when you decide your fruit that you want to use, remember that's going to be the main flavor that you want to come out. So each thing is going to be prepared differently. Like for cherries, you definitely want to cut them up if you can in halves and make sure the pits are out. If you don't, sometimes you can get a bad one that'll not discolor, but will really kick the flavor to a really bad level. So always want to cut them in half, take the pits out, make sure there's no stems or anything like that. You just got the straight cherry. Some other things are going to be a little harder to do. So for example, if you want to do cranberry, you actually have to heat the cranberry up, put it in boiling water to soften the skin. And then at that point you need to essentially take a spoon, or you put it in your fingers, whatever you want, and squeeze it. Same thing with pomegranate. If you get a whole bunch of pomegranate seeds, you definitely want to make sure that you crush every single one. If you can take the seeds out, that's great. That's a lot of work. I don't think the seeds in pomegranates really change the flavor too much, so I don't really take the seeds out. But you may want to make sure that you break the skin. So whenever you put stuff in, you want to make sure you put the fruit in first. Since really cherries are not in season, I just got frozen cherries. Now, these are already pre-pitted, and they're going to have some juice in them already, so that's nice. And yes, I made sure I washed my hands thoroughly before doing all this. As you can see, one bag got me about 1/4. I'm going to put up to 3 bags in. What you want to do is you want to get about 60% fruit. And dropping a lot of cherries. Be eating those later. Pretty close to half. I'll add a little bit more. Now, if you just get straight cherries and cut them in halves and de-pit them, you're going to get less juice right now, but the juice is already in here, so I'm going to make sure that it stays in the flavor. Now, add a few more in. Yep, pretty much right at the bottom, right there. Now I'm going to put rum in. I'm going to use a combination of both a spiced and a plain rum. Now you're not going to have to worry about spacing because you're not needing an area so much for fermentation. So you should fill it up about 80 to 90% just so that you have the capability of shaking every once in a while. Some people say you should shake just one time and let it sit. Some people say you should shake it about once a week. I think you should shake it whenever you walk by me like, hey, you grab it, shake it for about 30 seconds, set it back down. Okay, if you look at it 5 times a day, I think that might be a little bit excessive, but it's up to you. It's not going to hurt it. Put the cap on. Give it a good shake for 30 seconds. That is 10 more seconds longer than washing your hands in today's society. 30. That's it. Now you should really let it sit for as long as possible. The minimum should be about a month. Average should be about 2 months. If you can wait till 3 or 4 months, that's even better. That's going to let the alcohol infuse into the fruit that you have. But like I said, if you crush the fruit, cut it in halves or quarters or anything like that, it's going to infuse faster. Some people don't like it because it leaves particles in there. Some people don't mind particles. So once you do that, you let it sit. Now say we let this sit for 3 months. Now we're good. Now what we do is we get another bottle and we're going to take it out and we're going to strain into the second bottle. We're going to leave the fruit in the strainer. Like I said, you can use the cherries to make a very strong tasting cherry pie. Make it as a breakfast tart. or, you know, add a little bit of cream to it, and now you have like a compost you can put on your breakfast pancakes. And for some strange reason, I'm thinking we're using a lot of alcohol in the morning, so welcome to my videos. Now, once you get done, remember, you're going to have a lot less because the fruit's gone. And that's fine. This is when you start adding the sweetener that you want. Now, instead of just having a straight cherry flavor, what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of vanilla. I'm not really much of a spice fan, but I like a little bit of extract to it. Vanilla makes it almost taste like cherries and cream. So you're not going to just have a straight cherry flavor. Now, what you can also do is, well, man, if I add more alcohol to it, it's going to become too strong. Remember, you can always add a tart cherry juice to dilute it a little bit. There's other things that you can do with it. Now, what I mean by that is, after you get it all done, put it in the freezer, okay? Now, you're going to have very little of this is going to freeze. But if you can take a little bit out, and like I said, put it into a morning mixture. You can add it to a pancake mix, or like I said, add it to a cream to give a nice little zing to a topping. Put it on some ice cream. That's even better. It's not going to melt the ice cream because it's cold. And since it doesn't freeze, it'll last longer. So instead of just having a refrigerator, oh, I need more room for more milk because we're limited on milk, so we're going to get as much as we can, put it in the freezer. It's not going to hurt it. Not at all. Everything after this, like I said, after 2 months, put a sweetener in, put a different extract in, get it to the taste that you want. And some people say you should let it sit for another month. Really, I have never seen a big difference in taste between just adding a sweetener and 1 week to 1 month. But if you want to, say for example, after 2 months, you try it and you're like, you know what? There is still a lot of cherry flavor still in the cherries. What you can do at that point is you can mash them up if you want a little bit more and keep it in the first fermentation again for another 1 or 2 months. You can squish it, make sure that there's less particles. You can put it in a cheesecloth bag, like I said before, stick it in there, just let it ferment some more. Not ferment, infuse. Been doing fermentation so long, I'm just putting everything in ferment. So this is just infusion. One of the things that I have found is, like I said, you have a fruit with the slight difference with an extract, or like with one spice. If you put too much variance in there, I'm going to put some strawberries. Strawberries and cream is really good too. Blueberries and cream is really good. So like I said, a vanilla. But if you want to go, I'm going to have a peach, mango, allspice, whatever. Okay, you're just overpowering what you have right there. The whole point is to concentrate on one fruit, get it nice to a syrupy flavor. That's pretty much what you want. And like I said, in case you want to make it non-alcoholic, instead of rum or vodka or whatever, just put water in. That's all you got to do. And at that point, it can freeze. So don't put it in the freezer because it could expand so much it breaks your jar if you put too much in. But at least it's one of those things where, hey, you know what? We'll put it in the freezer for a little bit, get it nice and cold, and then we'll put more sugar in it, really make it a thick syrup, and put it on top of your ice cream. Put it in the ice cream trays with the little handles so you can have like a little treat for your kids and stuff like that. That's another thing. So there's many different ways of, and then like I said, you're taking the cherries and you make a cherry tart or a cherry pie. You can do a lot of different things with what you have. Just take some time, come up with your imagination. So, strangely enough, that is it. That is how simple it is. So we went from coming up with this whole thing and slowly building up to a big thing to, hey, this is how easy a cordial is. I really hate fermentation. I don't want to take all this time. I want something quick, something that I can just take with me, just keep it in this jar, and it's all good. So that's it. Like I said, try different flavors, add one extract, maybe one additional spice after the first infusion is done, and then that's it. It's very simple. Like I said, the best part about it is it's very quick. So you don't have to buy all his equipment. Just combine what you already have at home. That's the fastest lesson we've had so far. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about the different types of bottles. Like I said, this is my favorite. The lid stays on. They're also more expensive. Sometimes a little bit harder to clean. So we're going to talk about how to put them in bottles, the type of bottles you use, how to cork them, how to secure them, different types of things like that. Then next week, what we'll do is I'll do a weekly update on the status of what we've already been brewing. And I will also start doing some additional ones. So like I said, the next one next week is going to be shooting with the Baron. And I'm going to teach you different aspects about aiming, breath control, my shots are going here, why is that? And a process called follow the penguin. It's something that we do unnaturally, but we do it all the time. And it's something that we need to stop doing, especially when we're doing archery. So, I'd like to thank you. Hopefully I'll get maybe 500 people watching this because it's so short. All right, thank you very much. This is Eric Saturn. Have a good day.